And we are live. Hello, everyone. Namaskara, namaste. Welcome to the Adda. How you all? Hope you all are doing fine. Today, not wasting much time. We're going to straight dive into the topic. Me being a fitness professional and we not talking about fitness has doesn't make sense, right? So I want to call upon someone whom you already know. He's also, as I said, I've already introduced him in the beginning or in the earlier shows, that is one of the most grounded and smart fellows, and he's also passed out of ISC. So he didn't want me to tell that, but then I have to. So let's call upon Siddhanth and let's see how he's doing. Hey, buddy.
Yo,
Hey, Sid. How are you?
what's up? I was freezing for a while, so I'm just
You are
doing a quick
still, there is
food
still
change.
lag, but it's fine. I hope it
Alright.
gets on with the day. I want to break the jinx of this topic today, no matter what. So, how are you doing? How's long time? How's everything? How's post IAC life and current
Yeah,
fitness life
it's
going
been
on?
a slightly busy week, good busy week. I'm moving houses soon, so packing and also trying to get my training in, trying to make no excuses for packing. Something had to get sacrificed, so sleep is currently the victim.
So this is what your fridge was all about for 1 week. Yesterday's story. Hmm? How's the protein lassi? We're not going to take the brand name because I don't want to get sued. How's the protein lassi? Good.
You have to shake it to drink it.
Okay,
Shake,
nice.
best to mix it with water.
I
So
I
I
I
like the
I
taste.
I, I think it's too thick. I've tried one or two otherwise in the beginning when they launched it. I felt it was too thick, but still a better. But even I felt the recent one which I had uploaded, the 50-gram turbo Greek yogurt, that also is very thick. But then you can't get everything right. It's-
No.
So why you are here is we are going to talk about running, right? I'm sure
Yeah.
a lot of them would have got to know by now because of so and so. So before we get into the running aspect of it, I will just want you to share because how did I come across your running is randomly one day I see this guy sprinting like anything on threadmill, and I go see for whatever reason. Then I read the caption. Then I see this happening every week. Now, along with that, I want you to say what was that about? Was it that? Did you start it then? And how was that part of running? Before I want, then slowly I'm going to tell you, ask you, saying there's this notion which I have a problem with when it comes to running. People consider running on a treadmill is not cool. Running in a on a road or running in like a trail running is more better. uh, for me, running is running as long as each one has their own goal, why they run, right? We are no one to judge. So I just want you to touch upon that later, but I just want you to share what was that about, like why were you sprinting like so fast?
Okay. So when you saw my videos, I was in the middle of rehabilitating my Achilles tendon, right? So I had tendinitis, and I was also getting back from inflamed bone spur. So the end of my Achilles, where it attaches to the heel, right? I had developed a little bit of inflammation, and any sport was getting very painful, especially contact sports. So football, badminton, non-contact, but sports that required sudden change in direction, right? I had a lot of inflammation. So I reached out to Tejas uh, simply to relieve some of that pain, right? After going to multiple physiotherapists, and we made a plan to slowly improve our sprint performance, right? Just straight line running first, because that was the one that was most troublesome. Before we even go to change of direction, we were trying to get better at straight line running, and we had already identified lots of problems with my technique. So when you saw my page, I was in the middle of fixing my technique, Nothing for long distance, just short distance sprint technique.
Nice. So Tejas is another trainer, educator. He's also now a entrepreneur. So he's also planning to come for the show, and we're going to talk about protein. I'm just putting it out there. And no, no, that makes me just for a lighter note. Did your mother forget to dip your Achilles also, like that Greek mythology? You remember? I
Yeah,
don't know. I forgot the name.
I
Brad
I
Pitt.
feel like everything was going well until I hit the age of 26. That's when all the problems start to arise. Uh, Otherwise, I never had these ankle issues and knee issues. But yeah, just a regular dosage of rehabilitation that fixed everything for me. Yeah.
Perfect.
So I
So
don't know.
as I mentioned, sorry.
Go on, go
Now,
on.
as I mentioned it, then I have a notion. Let's put this out of the plate because this needs to be addressed by the because we as fitness professionals, I don't personally believe in any this works, this doesn't work. Like this is the way, this is not the way. I personally believe in life also. I don't believe this or that. So there is this notion of running on treadmill is wrong, or then running only on a trail, or running outside is better. Uh, Also, there is another thing which we'll talk about it later, but this has to come because for me personally, I prefer running on treadmill because it saves my time.
Yeah.
I'm doing it for my cardio purpose. I am not doing it to zone out. I'm not doing it for any endorphins. I'm not doing it for enjoying the nothing. It's just for my cardiac health. So what do you think about this? Is there any substance to that, or it's to each their own?
I simply look at the treadmill as a tool to set the load at a constant level, right? Whatever that load is, speed, incline, ramp up, ramp down, right? We have a fixed load, right? On a terrain, on an outdoor terrain, you can't control that. So you can test your technique in that outdoor terrain, but trying to improve technique in an outdoor terrain is very hard, right? You can't look at your video and test it. You can't analyze it later on, right? Maybe a athletic track you can do that, like Kantirwa Stadium or any other stadium. But doing it on an irregular outdoor terrain, it's very hard to improve your technique. And for me, that was very important. The treadmill was perfect for that. The right hardness, testing different shoes, testing different technique, and then finally arriving at what works for me.
Perfect. See, so let's rightly get into it. I don't want to, or we are not here to talk about I run to stay fit, right? That's a very generic way of understanding. I want to understand why. I kind of know now because you've already given it out. Why do you run? What is that thing which makes you like wake up from the bed, like whatever it's, however early morning it is, or whatever your mood is in. So what is your why? Because each one of us have different motivations. However, motivation is an overrated concept, but still we have a different motivation. So I just personally I want to understand so that if someone is watching this, they also need to understand there can be multiple whys, right? So I want to know what's your why.
At first, it was simply to go back doing the things I loved doing, which was running down the field on the left flank in a football game. Right? I was always a winger, and I loved being fast on the wing. And after developing the tendinitis, it became very painful to even run for 3 4 days in a row. Right? So that was goal number one: pain-free sprinting. Right? Then the more I enjoyed running, uh, I started aspiring to get slightly faster, right? And if you want to get faster at running, you also have to do a little bit of interval training, like ramp up, ramp down, and do it in a way where your recovery time starts to improve, right? How many seconds or minutes you need between each ramp. If it's getting better, then you know your output is also getting better, right? So it started with, okay, I just want pain-free running, to now I can be a little more faster than 22 kilometers per hour, right? I'm still not. I haven't hit that 22 km per hour target yet, but I've gone from 16 to 20, 21. Right. So that's a lot of improvement for me, for somebody who thought I would never be able to run this fast again.
So how do you bribe yourself? Do you take extra tacos, or you like have a beer in the night, previous night, or what do you do? Like you put up a,
Honestly,
like a heavy metal playlist?
so honestly, it's the post-workout meal that's most exciting for me, right? Not the previous day's meal or anything like that. I'm looking forward to post-workout meals the most, right? Because I like working out very light on the stomach.
Uh-huh.
During the workout, it's there's music, and then there's simple. Okay, I have to hit this number today. Whatever happens, I have to get here. The first run sucks. It's very slow, very rusty. Second run, you slightly prime yourself up. Third and fourth run is where you're in the zone, and you have to get past that mental barrier to hit that runner's high. You only hit the runner's high in your fourth attempt and onwards. So I'm looking forward to that runner's high
Mm.
in the middle of the session.
Nice. So you're like those who like craves for the reward rather than rewarding yourself before starting something. That's where I have a problem with, like, what are you like? I always ask people generally in life also, what are you rewarding yourself for? That I think somewhere if we define that really well, I think pretty much most of us in this country will be very fit. Now this brings me up to the spot where what worked for you. Like, give me that one thing. I'm sure there are multiple factors, right? But there must be that one thing among all them what worked for you. Also, along with that, if you can add what didn't work for you. Like many people focus on this, what worked for me, this, that, and they get into this, mindset of only doing them. But I also
Yeah.
want you to start off with what didn't work for you, and then we can get
What?
into this. Yeah,
Yeah.
all is well.
Definitely, what worked for me was regular check-ins with my coach about my technique, right?
Hmm.
And being patient to correct it every time he gave me feedback. So it took almost like 9 to 12 months until we started seeing my best runs. And we recorded like hundreds of videos of me running, lots of them, right? If you compare the first run to the last run, I may have highlighted a few of them on my page, but there were so many runs where we would pause in the middle, spot where we have to improve, slow it down. Um, do I need to do more strength for this? Do I need to change my routines a little bit so the output goes up? So all of that patiently improved month over month after check-ins, and not trying to do this all on my own. You know, just downloading Nike Run app and trying to
Correct.
follow the program doesn't work, right? For me at least. I need
So,
someone
so,
to assess my performance, not just the speed and numbers, but also how I'm running the videos. That was very
so, ju-
important.
so just to interject you there, uh, so basically you're trying to say for you accountability and a coach. These two played a huge factor, and I think somewhere you like literally hit the nail on the coffin, or whatever you want to call it, because majority of the people assume currently that they can do it with an app, or they can just, now the AI has come, so just type give me 5-day plan, or how do I run. But and somewhere they miss out on the fact that that's just like another day, where after the second day, third day, it just dies down. And accountability, I think, is such a huge factor, no one even considers it.
Yeah.
But great, that I love that accountability word. I'm glad it came up. Now I just want to know what didn't work for you. I'm sure, sir, these are things which work once stages come on board with you.
Yeah.
I'm sure you must have tried a lot of things before that. So
Yeah.
what didn't work for you then, which changed your perspective about it?
Trying to do too much volume in one day. So that was not a good idea. I had to decide that, okay, if I'm going to run today, I might take half an hour just to do this. I can't do strength high volume on the same day. So we attempted it a few times. I was extremely my output dropped,
Mm-hmm.
fatigue went up in the week. So I then modified my routine where my volume was tapered down. But I did this and it helped me remove junk
Hmm.
sets where I was simply pushing the weight but not really testing my limits, right? So I started to make my program a little more lean. Even in 30, 40 minutes, I would get really four really good sets or eight really good sets. And that was fine as long as I show up more often. So yeah, reducing
So,
the volume
mhm.
was important.
So I just want you to stay on that, and I want you to see when we as coaches or who are into this profession or who are into bodybuilding or etc., we understand what's the volume. So I want you to explain. Imagine there is a random general pop or layman is watching this. What do you mean by volume? Like, what is volume in this context? And if you can put it in a very simple term,
Yeah.
maybe it helps them.
Okay. Now the conventional way to look at volume is the load you're lifting into the number of reps you're doing into the number of sets you're doing, right? But there's a little bit of flaw in that formula that you don't consider effort and intensity, right? You don't consider how close to failure you're pushing those sets. So I like to count the number of hard sets in a week, number of really hard sets in a week, and how many times I'm repeating it in a week. So for me, volume is how many times I'm training each joint group per week, and how many of those sets are hard sets. Okay,
Interesting.
so I set a minimum for that.
So simultaneously, I just want to add that you clearly have mentioned a point saying just running doesn't work. Strength training, along with that, plays a huge role in making your run better, or even in terms of longevity of running, whether which will come later in terms of races and marathons and all. Because somewhere I see a lot of them just running, like and they do some kind of strength training, but that's more towards, when I observe them, it's more towards mobility. And they have this notion saying if you do a lot of strength training, you become very again, I don't want to use this word tight, stiff and all. I'm like, buddy, uh, you know my running personally, what has worked for me when it comes to running, I feel my strength training, especially legs, my volume with legs over a period of time, has somehow improved my endurance with respect to running. Personally, I don't enjoy it. Like, I have never hit this runner's zone, because for me, it's still, I'm trying to figure out what is this zone, right? So, personally, I feel working a lot on my legs, strength training, like I do twice or thrice in a week, and I keep one day for this running, and somewhere it's helped me. So maybe it's each one's different. Now coming to the basic factor, and I think somewhere no one talks about it, is the nutrition,
Hmm.
right? Like for usually, what's the perception? Nutrition for runners means lot of carbs. And the funny part is, I see a lot of them running in Lalbagh. Lalbagh is one of the parks in Bangalore, guys. And after that, you see them in airlines and belting masala dosa. So I've never understood this. So what is your approach to the nutrition part of it? Do you just go, because I don't believe in clean eating. Oh, I don't get me started on it. We can have an episode separate on clean eating. So what was your nutrition, the simple formula? And I also want you to little put light on that also.
Yeah. See, carbs are important, but the importance of carbs are overstated. All right. Uh, Depending on the number of times I'm running in a week, I try to replenish my lost glycogen. Whatever glycogen I've used through every workout, whether it's running or strength training, because it's type of workout where your body prefers to use carbohydrate and stored glycogen. I'm trying to replenish it the night before a big run or a test run, right? So I'm simply bumping up my carbs by 20, 30 grams the previous night. And on the day of my workout, I like to be light in the stomach. So I'm maybe taking 10 grams, maybe a banana or a slice of bread or intra workout drink
Hmm.
at the most. Nothing too heavy, fast digesting carbs before the run, and night before you're having slightly more carbs to replenish your glycogen. And then post workout is very important. Post workout, make sure you get your regular meal with proteins and carbs and fiber. Uh, don't delay that, because then you go into a big deficit for energy, and you feel very fatigued. So your recovery gets affected. That's all.
Perfect. Can you just, along with that, let's focus on this one nutrition myth you would like to bust with respect to running, right? I'll give you mine. Okay. I'm not going to dwell into it. Like having beer previous night when you have a morning race. I'm not talking random running, like a race or a marathon. One of my friend prefers having a beer. So I don't try to, as long as you come and ask me saying, does it work? I'm like, it's making you happy, I think. So that's what psychologically it's helping you next day morning. But why would I suggest alcohol will help you to run better next day morning? It should work the other way, right? So personally, I don't think it's a way, it's too stupid and too pseudo way of using a beer for your next day morning run. So give me that one nutrition myth, your nutrition aspect which you have heard and you feel uh, doesn't make sense, buddy.
For running specifically, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So this, it's not a myth really, just a misconception that you need to constantly hydrate, right? And just water, right? We miss the fact that when we're running and losing water through sweat, it's not just water we're losing, we're also losing salts, which is why our sweat is quite salty. And you can see it settling down and becoming dry and salty when it dries up. So, more than restoring water regularly and making yourself very full, you're better off restoring the salts in a water form, in a soluble form, right? So even small sips of electrolyte, small sips is more than enough, right? Your body will lose water, of course, but you don't need to overhydrate, right? Your body has a very smart way of telling you it's thirsty. And when it signals that you're thirsty, think about replenishing the lost salts with water rather than just plain water.
Perfect. Great. I again, guys, he said sips. I don't want you to go to the shop now and buy these bulk hydrating. Anyway, there's
Yeah.
too many brands now. Buy and keep gulping electrolytes through the day. Doesn't make sense. Now, very important aspect I want to talk about running before we go into the last segment of my favorite segment, but mental game. You know, the mental aspect of a runner, whether it is a 5 kilometer runner or whether it is someone who's training for a sport, whether it is a marathon runner. Now each one needs to have a different mental game. So I want to understand what's your mental game which went into, especially when you are regaining to gain back. See, I understand there's already an athlete mindset because you've been a footballer, so it might not be that big difficult for you. But let's assume that we are general public who just wants to run because whatever, no, so we want to burn fat or we endorphins high, whatever it is. So how much does the mental aspect play a role, and what was yours?
Okay, actually, at first it was very hard because when you're playing in a game, you're chasing something. You're trying to beat another player or you're trying to chase the ball, right? So there's more motivation to be fast. On the treadmill, you don't know why you're doing this sometimes. Like, why are you running at this speed for what purpose, right? So that was very hard at first to really get into that zone. Then now some people self-talk, you know, they talk to themselves in the middle of the sprint, or they're like, let's keep going, little more, 30 seconds more, 45 seconds more. For me, it was quite straightforward. I wanted to run to a tempo, and the tempo was in my ears, music. right? So the music was kind of like pumping me to keep going, and I would select songs which were similar to the tempo I was running at. So if I was getting like 2 steps or every second, then I would listen to a 120 BPM song, right? And I would try to keep up with the tempo a lot. And if the song was very energetic, then nothing can stop me when the song is going, right? After you reach that runner's high moment, right, a little bit of state of flow, it's like a state of flow. Now, after you reach there, nothing can stop you then, except your muscles literally cramping up. Only cramping can stop you then. And for that, we have
Interesting.
strategies,
Interesting.
right? But the first 2-3 minutes are the hardest.
I agree.
Then it gets better.
I totally. So basically, you're saying for you, music really helped, and somewhere it also makes me like. I just want to highlight it here that I suggest not to listen to. I don't know. Each one is different. Personally, it doesn't work for me. Like high tempo music when I'm weight training, because when I'm in that tempo, high tempo, my mind is like that on all, because also I have a dancing background, my body wants to do something, but then I want to control my tempo when I'm weight training. So but similarly, I totally agree. When I'm running, music is personally, like, to start off, it's so difficult. First kilometer is like a pain. So personally, I go to a Kannada song, which is like my childhood song, where I will still, vintage, or a Bollywood, because something you relate and you makes happy. See, the moment I said, you smile. So the point is that 1 kilometer, I'm happy to start off. Then, but it's a very nice thing you put it out, saying how you manipulate the music when you are doing different things, right? Last segment before we go, I have something to say. Guys, hit like, subscribe to the channel, please. And I'm going to put Siddhanth's and mine, our social media handles down. Please go give him a follow on Instagram. He really does put a lot of authentic content, and you will see his plate with all lemon rice and curd rice and whatnot. So never know. So if you want a coach who will give you lemon rice, why not? So he's the best person. I'm not taking the bait here. But before, so why this is my favorite segment is because we address a lot of hot takes, and I ask people their opinion. So related to running, I'll just throw a quick question. You just have to come up with as quick an answer as possible, not say one word. Just keep it a little more context. When it comes to running, you really think shoes are a scam?
Um, yes and no. The shoes that are over designed for running, running specialty shoes, right? I think those are not worth the money always. I got better at running simply using basic decathlon shoes, right?
Okay. Now you're getting a
So,
brand endorsement from Decathlon. Nice, nice. Huh?
so for me, more important thing was fixing my technique, and then the shoe heel height. The shoe heel height made a difference because my Achilles likes to have a slightly higher heel height rather than completely flat heel. So that way you can find the right shoe for yourself even at 3-4 thousand. You don't need expensive running shoes, right? So that way, yeah, some shoes are overpriced. But for long distance running, because fatigue plays a big role there, and the joints can really take a beating over 50 kilometers, 40 kilometers, right? Then it makes a difference if your shoe can slight support you a little more, right? For
Nice.
1K, 5K, 10K, I don't think it's a big deal. Um, I can't say definitively that's scam or not, because if you're an overweight person, if you're overweight and you're trying to run, shoes can help, but not simply because you want to go from 6 minutes per kilometer to 4 minutes per kilometer. You can't just simply improve your pace by putting on new running shoes, right? Fix your technique first, then find cheap shoes which will help you with that technique. In the long run, maybe you if you're getting competitive and you want some competitive edge, then maybe running shoes can help.
So, firstly, it's supposed to be a hot take, and you smartly made it a smart take. So I want it to be hot. But however, if I have to put it in one line, you're saying invest based on your progress, invest
Yeah.
based on your requirement, rather than just giving into these hi-fi or creative ads which blown up by each brand. Last one for the day. Do you think marathons are overrated? To add to that, is everyone do everyone need to try running a marathon? Is it safe? Now, safe in terms of, what it is. It can be joint, it can be their heart health. Like, I have a problem with that before you go start off, because we don't know at what level their cardiac health is. We don't know how active they are as individuals. We don't know what age and if there are any comorbidities. But because of these marathons which come on, and I don't know if it's a FOMO factor or if it's any factor, I see a lot of them enrolling, and I see just taking 5.7 Majja run is not for everyone. 1 kilometer, I understand. Okay, theek hai. So because there was a recent issue in Mumbai or something where a lot of people collapsed. So I want to keep it simple. Are marathons overrated, or will this put me in
Yes,
trouble?
they are for the general
Oh,
public.
you agree? Miracle.
I'm saying this because, in spite of training to clients who are running marathons soon, right? But they
uh,
have gotten to that level after many, many, many years of uh, pursuing it. So it's a serious goal for them. For the general public, a marathon is quite arbitrary as a goal. It's just it's a group thing that you want to do, but no one can really do it well until they have tried 2K, 5K properly. So half marathon or marathon is a very, very ambitious goal. It's like trying to enter the CrossFit games after you've done one season of CrossFit training, right? You've seen the CrossFit games, right? It's a
yep.
different level altogether. And if you
Correct.
think you've done CrossFit training for 6 months and you can enter the CrossFit games, you're in for a big surprise, right? So most people don't need to run marathons. They shouldn't be running marathons, depending on their current state of fitness. And only ones who are really serious realize it 3 or 5 years into it, that okay, this is what I really want to do. How many times in a year should I run a marathon? Then they sign up with a running coach. But beginners usually end up making that mistake of joining because of FOMO.
Perfect. Somewhere we agree on that, I think, and somewhere people need to, realize it for themselves before putting themselves out there, and not get into. I know it's very easy said than done, but then there is so much. I always tell my clients also, just follow. Social media is a tool where if you follow the right people, follow the right professionals and handles, it can guide you into that right direction, rather than getting into this FOMO habit of my company is doing this, someone else is doing this. So great. Yet again, another great one. Thank you, Siddhanth, for coming on. And it was fun. I hope many will find this useful. And whoever is running already, you can have a better run. If you have not started and you want to run, there's some starting point from here for you guys. And please, again, subscribe to the channel. Follow Siddhant for more insights on this and strength and conditioning and even nutrition. As I said, he's very good with his I've already mentioned lemon risk diet.
Thank
So thank you, Siddhant, for coming. Thank you guys for watching, and we signing off here, and hope to see you soon about a different topic. And thank you so much.
you, Ravindra.